叫 Oscar， 我女朋友是漂亮。
My name is Oscar and my girlfriend is beautiful.
That's crazy. This is a Google Pixel 8 Pro, a smartphone I've used for the past 4 months with my main SIM in here, and I think at this point I know a thing or two to share with you guys. Arguably, this might just be the best camera on a smartphone for $1,000. I'm gonna share with you guys my findings, my issues with the smartphone, and all there is to know about the Google Pixel 8 Pro. And so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. This is Google's best offering right now as far as smartphones, and this should be that flagship device you look for when you think about the best camera smartphone on the market. First off, out of the box you get the smartphone itself, a USB-C to A converter, a user warranty manual, and a USB-C connector, and that's about it. Like with other devices out there, and also continuing with the Pixel tradition, you're getting a glass back and an aluminum frame, and also this visor-like camera bump which is glossy as opposed to the matte back you get here. So less messy fingerprint patches for the rear in general. The camera bump this year houses the cameras all in one shape instead of separating them like last year. You'd also notice that Google made minor iterative improvements in this design this year, instead of getting a total overhaul of this design. You know what they say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Personally, when you compare the Google Pixel design to the iPhone 15 Pro Max here, or the S23 or S24 Ultra on this table here, this seems to be the best design for me. In fact, I can go ahead to say that this is the most comfortable design there is amongst all these devices, the flagship devices on the market right now. And I don't think I'm totally wrong with that. So no sharp corners or edges with the Google Pixel 8 Pro. And one major difference you notice in terms of the build here is the fact that this device is made out of aluminum instead of titanium like all these other devices here, or at least the S24 and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You're getting an aluminum frame, and I'm guessing Google would probably throw in titanium in the next 2 years on their Pixel devices. It's just a guess actually. So did I mention you get this wedge-like visor in terms of the camera, and this gives the smartphone this wobble-free experience. Build quality seems okay so far, and the only issue I've encountered with this device is the scuff I have on the screen, which I got in about the first week of using this smartphone. But since then, I haven't had any other issue with the screen on the Google Pixel 8 Pro. This display is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2, same as the rear glass. But from the beginning, I've always had a case on mine here, and that has protected the rear glass on my device. But I'm someone who skipped using a screen protector on my devices. I mean, that's a bad habit. You might want to throw on a screen protector to protect your device. And since we're talking about protection here, this device has an IP68 dust and water protection rating, which is consistent with other flagship devices and same as the 7 Pro from last year. And that simply means you can have the smartphone in up to 1.5 meter depth of water for about 30 minutes. While still on protection, the face unlock feature on here gives you that iPhone feel. Like you can use it for day-to-day unlock for banking apps, something you would only find on iPhone devices and not on the Samsung devices on this table. Google claims to have this dual pixel camera able to capture depth. So the dual pixel cameras are able to get the depth mapping of your face and have been used for the autofocus capabilities on smartphones. So that tech is used to capture the topology of faces being scanned, making it more secure and can be fooled using a 2D photo. For the iPhones, infrared scanners and projectors are used to capture depth maps, but this uses dual pixels for that tech. So you can use the face unlock feature on the Google Pixel 8 Pro to log in your banking apps and all those applications that require secure login. Now the problem with this approach is the fact that this doesn't work well without good lighting. So in low lit conditions, you have problems logging in using the face unlock feature. And also, as far as the tech right now, it doesn't beat the face unlock feature on the iPhone. So it's just number 2. It's probably going to take a while to dethrone the iPhone in terms of face unlock or Face ID. For the fingerprint scanners, there's this in-display fingerprint sensor which is retained here from last year, but this time this is an improvement from what we got from the 7 Pro. Although this gets the job done, I probably would have preferred the ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner like you get from the Samsung devices, the S23 and S24 Ultra. Of course, those are more secure than the optical in-display fingerprint scanner on the Google Pixel. So while still on the hardware side of things, let's discuss the thermometer on the smartphone. If I'm being honest with you guys, I never tried out the thermometer at the back here until the first time I started scripting this video, and that was about 2 months back. And the second time I tried this out was about 2 weeks ago when I came revisiting my script. So I don't really see the need of the thermometer on this. It's not something you would always want to use. To use the thermometer, just launch your app drawer and scroll to the thermometer app and then tap on it. Tap on the object temperature, tap to measure, and make sure the sensor at the back is aligned to the object which you want to get its temperature. Now this is usually on default, but you can select the type of material you want to measure. I don't know if this is something that's handy. I've never really had the need for it, but it's actually there, and I would throw this into the gimmicks bucket. And also, this thermometer on here is not consistent with these readings, so I wouldn't trust this one totally. One other issue I've had with the hardware here is my volume rocker keys. For some reason, some days back, I noticed that it never did have that much travel like before. Like the buttons weren't really clicky like before. The clicks felt a little bit dampened. Now the problem is this going to stop working in the long run? I don't exactly know, but I used the 7A for a long time and didn't notice that kind of issue with that. So I just hope this is one of those things that wouldn't cause damage to my device. Another annoying thing here is the fact that the proximity sensor is a little bit annoying, and that's because of the placement. Whatever I'm gonna call here, especially on WhatsApp and Telegram, it keeps getting my display blank because intuitively we expect it to be at the center top of the screen, but they placed it a little bit off left. And that's something you might want to know. The proximity sensor on here isn't centered. Audios and speakers is something I really love about the Pixel 8 Pro. You get good quality audio, louder than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. At their max volumes, you would notice they are almost a tie in terms of the loudness, but the iPhone has a better or cleaner sounding audio at that volume. So I'm going to record a mic test comparing these 4 smartphones. Hey guys, I'm actually recording into 4 smartphones right now, the iPhone, 2 Galaxies, and the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Hey guys, I'm actually recording into 4 smartphones right now, the iPhone, 2 Galaxies, and the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Hey guys, I'm actually recording into 4 smartphones right now, the iPhone, 2 Galaxies, and the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Hey guys, I'm actually recording into 4 smartphones right now, the iPhone, 2 Galaxies, and the Google Pixel 8 Pro. What do you guys think? When you compare this display to the predecessor, this is obviously a 6.7-inch panel. You can see the noticeable slimmer bezels on this sharper panel. You also get up to 120Hz variable refresh rate, which starts from 1 Hz. So basically an LTPO technology. This is by far the best display you'd find on any Pixel device to date. The resolution here is 2992 by 1344 for the size, meaning approximately 489 ppi density for really sharp text and photos. Now, Google calls this display the Super Actual Display with a peak brightness of 2400 nits, and this is something that has been evident in my everyday use for the past 4 months. I haven't had a struggle while using this device outdoors, and of course I've used it a lot. The blacks here are a contrast from the popping colors on this display. Of course, high contrast ratio is what you get from OLED displays, and this display here doesn't disappoint. The display here is a flat implementation and one that I find a lot of people really do love. Although I did prefer the curved displays from these large displays, but somehow the S24 Ultra has changed my mind in the past 2 weeks of using that device. The Pixel 8 Pro also has this punch hole notch for the camera. So performance. I haven't really had any issues with my day-to-day activities with this device, all thanks to the 3rd generation of Google's chip, the Tensor G3, with new graphics processor and ISP for AI tasks. This is more on par with last year's flagship devices. Apps are quick to load, and you can have them in the background for a long period of time and have them run without lags. If you want to know numbers, let's start with the memory. You either get an 8 gigs or 12 gigs of RAM, while the storage here can start from 128 gigs up to 512. Only the 512GB storage option doesn't have an 8 gig RAM option, so that's supposed to be 512, 12 gigs of RAM. You get Android 14 out of the box from this smartphone, and the software experience is actually wild in a good sense, which is stock Android. You can now choose between different date formats and also measurement systems with the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Did I also mention you get up to 7 years of software updates with this device? Yeah, you do. For those who care, here are benchmark scores for the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Now let's talk about the AI features with the smartphone, which is one of the major things announced with the Google Pixel lineup. And in fact, Samsung has followed suit, starting with the Magic Editor on the Google Pixel. It's quite a handy feature on the Google Pixel 8 Pro, I'm not gonna lie. Being able to easily remove objects or people from your photos, or even throw them into a different position is wild. I mean, this is something that used to take skilled photo editors to do this, and this happens in a matter of seconds on the smartphone. Now the truth is, while this feature is great to have and quite impressive, the Magic Editor isn't always great as they made it seem. Most times you can somehow tell these photos have been manipulated. For instance, taking away objects leaves smears, blurs, and in general traces. Sometimes it takes forever to process these images. It's slow and doesn't always come accurate every time. The reason for being slow is the fact that this AI stuff isn't happening on this hardware. It actually sends your photo to Google servers where this real computational AI processing happens and then sends back the processed photo onto this device. Best Take is another AI feature. You should try it on the smartphone and it's okay. So here's how it works. You know the times when you take photos, especially group photos with a lot of people, and you somehow do not like how you look in these photos? Yeah, exactly. With Best Take, you're able to change your facial expression for anyone in that photo, and it does an incredible job at making a realistic photo with AI. It's scary. Another AI feature here would be summarizing web pages. When browsing through your web pages, you're able to have your phone summarize and read that page instead of going through the whole text. This comes in handy, but I usually would not trust this one here as it doesn't provide me with the whole depth most times. Now you can also have it read the whole page if you don't want it to summarize the whole page for you. The next AI feature I can actually remember right now is the Skyswap feature. You can easily swap skies when you take photos. Although this feature has been on a lot of mid-range devices, you also find it here on the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Now when it comes to computational audio, there are a couple AI features you might want to start trying out, such as Live Translate. The Google Pixel 8 Pro can translate a text sent to you in another language to your preferred language. So while trying to communicate with someone who speaks and understands a different language, you can use the interpreter mode on the smartphone to speak in your native language while it speaks in that person's native language. That's crazy. Let's try it out. Interpreter mode.
Got it. What language do you want translated?
我叫 Oscar, 我女朋友是漂亮.
My name is Oscar and my girlfriend is beautiful.
It's crazy. This can be really useful when you travel and can't speak the language there. It can be helpful for communication on a train, in the markets and all that. There's another audio AI feature that lets you remove noise from the audio you've recorded, and it works pretty well. One thing I did notice about the smartphone is the fact that a little bit tasking activities gets it a little warm. For instance, after playing a PUBG or Call of Duty session, the Pixel 8 Pro gets warm to the touch for some reason. By the way, this is a really good performer, and here are Geekbench, Antutu and 3D Mark scores when compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the S23 and S24 Ultra from Samsung. What do you guys think? And also, why don't you guys subscribe to this channel if you find this kind of content helpful? It does help us a bunch. Thank you. If there's one sentence I can say about the smartphone, that sentence would be, cameras are amazing. You do not have to overthink the shots with this one. You just take a shot and you're almost always guaranteed an amazing outcome. We've seen a new sensor here. The cameras on the Pixel is simply one of the top reasons most people get a Pixel device. And as far as photography, this hasn't failed. There's a 50 megapixel main sensor, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 48 megapixel telephoto sensor. You also get 12 megapixel photos from the main camera. And of course, that uses pixel binning to give you a lot of detail, and this gives really contrasty images. You can also take pictures at up to 50 megapixels in terms of the resolution, and that's the full resolution with better details, but at the expense of a larger file size. Now, when I compare the Pixel to my iPhone 15 Pro Max, this has a better brightness in my opinion, and also does a better job at getting the skin tone for darker complexions right. You can also take raw images as well if you want to have full control of the edit in post. For the portrait mode, you get a 2x zoom at default. Edge detection isn't the best if you ask me, as there have been times when I got this weird looking things for the edge detection, and I did see better with the S24 Ultra. Night mode is good with good detail, but sometimes details are not as great in low light and requires a little brighter lighting to work better. Now this is in comparison with the top end devices here. Generally, these photos are really good at the minimum. This is turned to the device I would always use in terms of the photos. While the iPhone 15 Pro Max covers my video needs in terms of a smartphone, 4K videos are great with good stabilization here. I mean, don't get me wrong, the videos are really good also with this smartphone. You'll now get 24 FPS for those who love that frame rate, and that's a new addition to the 4K 60 FPS for the max resolution on the Pixel 8 Pro. Is this the best video camera you get for a smartphone? Heck no, the iPhone is better, but the shots here are really good and comparable to what you get from the iPhone. I've taken a lot of photos with this smartphone, over 400 at this point, and this is top 2 smartphones I can easily recommend in terms of photography on a mobile device. This might just be the best photo camera in anyone's pockets today, arguably. Now the zoom shots are really good, and this is how it compares with the iPhone and also the S24 Ultra. And when we talk about the ultra wide photos, we see good photos with good dynamic range, and you can also use this for macro. Video isn't the best for this lens here, especially when you consider the white balance, which is off from the main sensor on this side of things. Also, I'd love to say that the camera apps interface on this smartphone is the best I've tested on any device. I prefer it to every other camera app on these other devices because of how intuitive it is. On the front-facing camera side of things, you get a 10.5 megapixel sensor with computational photography, and you get good selfies, decent separation from the background, dynamic range is on point, and the colors here pop too. For the videos here, you can do up to 4K in resolution, that's for the front-facing camera, and this is how it compares to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You know how the first few days with any Google device is usually shitty as far as the battery life? For some reason, I didn't get to notice that this time. Maybe, I don't know if it's because I didn't pay that much attention to it or because something got better. I have no clue. You get a 50-50 mAh battery on the smartphone, and you get to charge it from 0 to 100 in about an hour and 25 minutes for the smartphone. I think I used the 30-watt charger to get that juiced up. Now you get a support for 30 watts wired charging and about 23 watts for wireless charging on this device. I haven't really noticed any major issue in terms of the battery life in the past 4 months of using the smartphone. The only major thing I did notice was how sometimes this device fails to charge up for some reason. It shows charging, but after hours, I still find it at the same charge level. It's happened to me about 4 times, but I haven't been able to replicate this issue in the past month. Otherwise, this is an almost full day of use smartphone for an average Joe. You charge through the night, use it up all day, and use it up a little by the evening to last you through the evening. All I'm saying is that this has a good to decent battery life. So the Google Pixel 8 Pro is an obvious improvement from the predecessor, one of the best smartphone cameras around, an improved display, especially as far as brightness, a lot of AI features, of course not limited to this device, 7 years of software updates support is the best you can get for any Android device right now. It ticks a lot of boxes right now, but the battery life might be a little here and there. We've seen better actually. So if you're an Android fan, especially for the Pixel devices, this is the best you can get. By the way, I'll be switching over my SIM from the Google Pixel 8 Pro to the S24 Ultra as my daily driver if you will, and you can check out my day in the life with the smartphone here. Cuidado.